guys, it is that Panda. I'm here again with another video, and today we're going to be looking at a tier list. I do want to thank Taco right off the bat, as always. I think this is his Twitter right here, but he helped me just getting this tier list thing up, and I really do appreciate that, as this is something that's just inconvenient to me personally, and him going through it for me is awesome. And I will say that this is going to be for beginners, because I'm not going to be including a ton of older heroes. I will be including Lewis, and that is up to around 90 days of region age you can unlock him. I hear some people unlock him like around 80, whatever, right? You guys get the point, right? This is a bit pushing it, but that will be my last hero. I just wanted to make a tier list specifically for newer players, as I know a lot of people come into this game and they're confused, and hopefully this does help somebody. So, you can share this with your friends if you're in a newer region and you're kind of limited on what heroes to choose, and maybe this will help you a bit. So we're going to go through this. I'm going to be using all these legendary heroes here, all the way down to these epic heroes, and I will go in the legendary order first, and then I will go down to the epics. That being said, let's hop into it, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope this somehow helps you guys with your deciding. And I will also just be mentioning how useful they are down the line, and that is a bit of why their ranking might be what they're ranked, because I do think that if you're investing in a hero, you want to get some long-term benefits out of it, instead of maybe them being good for the first month of the game, which is good at the moment, but I don't want you investing in a hero or like using all your stars on a hero that isn't going to have long-term benefits. So that being said, let's get into it. I'm going to first drop Lewis in S tier. I think that Lewis is S tier still late game. Of course, you can only unlock him around 3 months ish in, and sometimes like 2.5, but you guys get the point, right? He takes a while. But overall, he's really good. His skills, he has some high skill damage. He's still considered to me to be the best range hero. He's good offensively, sieging on the field. He's a really high damage dealer, as well as even being, viable on garrison duty. And of course, there are still better heroes that you can maybe use, like Tom or something, for garrisoning. But overall, I think that if you use him in good incidences, and you know how you're using him, then I think he's a really good garrison hero, as long as you're kind of controlling that properly. But overall, Lewis is a really solid hero. I love the guy, and he can freaking sit on my lap, because look at him. Look at these freaking glorious abs. That being said, now we're going to hop into Tom. Tom is also going to drop in an S tier, because overall Tom is unlocked, I would say, weeks into the game, right? Like, I'm not really sure, but I would guesstimate like a month, maybe a little bit longer into the game, and Tom is still very viable late game. I still find a lot of use for him, and overall he's kind of in the same situation of Lewis, although I wouldn't call him like a massive siege hero or a field hero in the general regard of maybe putting up a lot of numbers, but being tanky and stuff just makes him really good. I like him. I also think for like 1v1s, especially for until you unlock someone like Peterson, Tom would probably be the best person for a 1v1. One reason being just this heal factor. And people I think a lot of people don't understand until they know how it works. But heal factor is insane. If you're able to out heal any damage you're taking, you can generally win any 1v1. You can generally smack anybody in like just decent fights. And even if you're like garrisoning with him on a tower or something, this heal factor can be massive for making sure that tower doesn't drop as fast as it should be dropping, because being able to heal lightly wounded troops. And for anybody that doesn't know, you have I think I might have a report here I can actually show you guys, just as an example. Okay, this was me getting hit the other day. So I basically had 16k heavily wounded. I had 473,000 lightly wounded, and this lightly wounded count would be a bit different, but this is for an event and basically just changes the ratio. But the point is that lightly wounded can be sent back in battle. Heavily wounded are what is sent to your hospital, so you're not able to put these back into battle while you're in that fight. Those will be sent to your hospital, whereas lightly wounded, think of them as stubbing their toe, right? They're not in a, they didn't get shot in their chest or something. They're not they're in dire need of healing. These guys all stub their toes, and all they need is a bandage on their toe. Well, Tom, in this theoretical sense, is able to put these guys back in a battle by bandaging their toes, right? And sorry if this example is stupid, but basically it replenishes the troops back in a battle, and you're able to keep that thing up, and it really is a really good way to manage towers or even defending your own base. This heal factor, and sometimes it can bite you in the butt if you're fighting an opponent much stronger than yourself who's able to just melt through you too fast. But overall, it's a really good skill, and I've always loved players who have heal factor, heroes who are able to heal and stuff. It's insane, and I love it. And I know I spent a bit of time on Tom. I just wanted to explain why I think he's so amazing. Next is Hank. Hank is gonna drop to the D. He's a dick, but he's not getting the D, okay? But basically, I don't like Hank. I think he's too niche. The thing is, I think that unless you're a Mega Whale or something and you're able to like max out every hero, he's just not worth it. Because I think generally for a free-to-play or even low spender, and I feel like a lot of low spenders or free-to-play players would be watching this video compared to a maybe pay-to-win player. The thing is, he's not good on the field at all. He's only good for Siege, and I have heroes that I could use on Siege. For example, I'm just fine rallying with Lewis, right? I'm fine with rallying with Lewis and Maya, if like that's earlier, or Lewis and Chun, whatever. I'm fine with rallying with those guys compared to rallying with Hank or something, right? You guys get the point, right? They're gonna end up being better heroes. Maybe earlier game this is a more so better Siege hero, but when you kind of go in for like when you're like in this game for so long, it's like you got so many better options, and he's no good in the field, so you waste so much time building up a hero. And I feel that a lot of like I said, free to play or low spenders do invest, and they need these heroes to be good on the field, as that is where you'll spend a lot of time. You're not going to be swarming bases as much as maybe a whale. You're not going to be the one running as many rallies as a whale, or even running rallies at that. Just in general, it's a bad investment. And it's the same with Peter here, and I'll go in Peter just because I'm on it. But Peter is the same way. Peter, he's not even as good as Siege as Hank, and he's like mid on the field. He's probably better on the field than Hank, but worse as a hero because he doesn't even have any area that he specializes in. It's so bad, and it just makes me hate these heroes, right? Like, I don't think these guys are worth the time of day. I think that you'll waste time if you really invest in them. I just wanted to say that because I don't want people end up investing on these. I know that people have invested on these, and it's the same with like some heroes like even Jaden here. And I won't say that Jaden's total garbage, but in a sense he's also someone who kind of tricks you into thinking, oh, maybe he's good, and these heroes look more so appealing when you kind of compare them to some heroes, or just people don't know what they're doing. Next, Maxine's going D. There's no reason for me to explain this. Maxine is simply a gathering hero. She has literally no value other than being a good gathering hero. I wouldn't use her anywhere else. I wouldn't recommend her on the field. I don't know, man. I just don't think that she offers anything. Next, we're going to be talking about Jaden. I wanted to get this one out of the way, and for me, I will actually have to put him either C or B. And the thing is, I am tempted to put him B simply for him being a more so better hero earlier game, but I do think that considering where he falls off at, he might end up getting the C, right? And I'm going to only put him C for this reason, guys. I think that early game he is a pretty good hero. He's excellent, right? And he'd be good to invest a bit into, but I wouldn't invest like 6 stars or anything. I would maybe get him to, let's say, your first month, right? If you're investing in a hero and you have to decide between Tom or Jaden, obviously you want to go with Tom, but maybe in that first month you don't have him, and Jaden is one of the better heroes that you'll get within the first bit of your game. He's also easier to level up way earlier out, and you see it in Memory Trip. You can basically unlock his stuff here, and you can buy each one of his fragments for 4k of these little token things here, and you can basically get passive tokens every day by having completed so and so many levels in campaign. That being said, the thing is, I also want to note that when unlocking or maxing out Jaden, I'll show an example here, but let's say I'm going with, let me find one who's actually close to Awaken. Let me use this here as an example, right? This last 5 levels, right? If I'm leveling up this to 2 out of 5, it costs me 70 fragments. It'll cost 75 for the next one, 80 for the next one, 85 for the next one. And the point is just to say that he's really hard to max out later on. Earlier out he's easier to get, let's say, 5 skills, 5 out of 5, and then like a second one 5 out of 5. But after that it starts to get really hard. Overall he's a slow growth for late game, and it takes a really long time to even max this guy out. And not only that, he just falls off in other regards, like having slow rage build, being a mediocre hero overall. I think that compared to at least late game heroes, he just really falls off. He doesn't have the best talent build. You also can't make him a support hero because he ends up cutting off like double, half of that skill damage, which just makes it really bad unless you're leading with him. So overall, I don't know. He also has some zombie skills, which kind of means, he has a zombie skill here. Already takes up one of his skills, and overall his skills are okay for an early game player, but I do not see him, being worth a late game investment. So I'm gonna leave him C. I do think that he's okay early game, and he brings you some value. If you need like an Antipede hero or something, but other than that, he kind of falls off. Next is Cass. She's gonna get S tier for early game. I do want to say that she does end up having less value late game. I think that you have a lot more choices, obviously, and I do say a lot of late game here, and I know this is about early game heroes, but I do want you guys to understand that you are going to be trying to milk maximum value. Let's say you even get a year of usage out of this hero. I think that's really worth it as a hero to be able to use them for that long, because as long as you're using them really well, then I think that it's worth it, because every hero is not going to be meta forever. Like every hero is probably going to end up getting pushed eventually into obscurity by another bigger and better hero, and that's just how it is. So I want you guys to at least maximize how long you can make use of that hero. That being said, you can get Catherine from the VIP store, and you can basically get her for around $300 to awaken. I do think that if you spend very minimal on her, she's not worth it. I think maybe if you get her, for example, if you max out like 3 of her skills or something, she might be worth it for temporary basis. And even if you awaken her, I think that there are better heroes like Bella and stuff late game who you'll end up replacing her with. But honestly, early game and even mid game, she is considered a boss tier hero. She has a lot of value. She has some high skill damage. She also has synergy with her little sister here, Cynthia. So overall, like early game to even middle game and even late game, she's still used, and she's still usable, because she still isn't bad. I'm just saying that there are more options who are either equally as valuable as her or slightly better. But overall, I think that Kath is a really good investment, and she's also technically the cheapest hero to awaken for $300 at like a really quick speed if you're able to do that. So I mean, that's up to you, but overall I think that Kath is a good investment. Especially if you get her out early game. Next, we're going to be talking about Jin. I put Jin A tier, but honestly, I think that he does end up falling off eventually. But earlier, and even, I think late game, he's not bad. I think that you just have too many options, and it makes him a kind of low tier siege hero, and I'll actually show him here. But Jin, he's a really good siege hero. I even use him on some of my accounts as a support. I think I have him in arena on this account actually, but basically, I use him right here, for example. Overall, just a rage build, but I don't think that he's insane. I don't think he has some insane value, but I think earlier out, especially for Wales, this could be insane. I think even for Island, if you're in a much lower bracket, Jin is insane, for his rally capacity, just his overall skill set is pretty nice. I think that he's still good, like I said, later on, but he just starts getting pushed into obscurity, and at this point in the game, I don't think that I'd spend money on him with my hero choices. But maybe if you don't have a ton of awakened, he is a pretty good option. He's not bad. Next, we're going to be talking about Lee. Okay, so Lee is also going to get A tier. I still find him very useful at this point in the game as a secondary, or sorry, not as a secondary, but as a hero, just to be using my lineup. I still use him in my current lineup, and I use him with Lewis and Lee, because I think that Lee is pretty good with his AoE and all that. But overall, I think that he is slowly getting pushed out, and although I will say that he might end up getting replaced at this rate, I've had this dude for I'd say about 2 years, and honestly, that being said, I think that he's still going to be useful for a good year for most people, and for most people to be able to even use a hero for a good year, and he's a really good field hero. He just has a really good skill set for field, especially an AoE type skill. This makes him just amazing. That's why I also love someone like Lewis on the field. This means he's just able to do damage to multiple opponents with one skill drop. Overall, I like Lee, and I think that he still has pretty good value. And being able to invest in him early game, I think compared to when you get Lee, Tom, maybe Regro, these are probably some of your best early game heroes as a free to play or something, because they just have some more long-term value. But yeah, that is Lee, and Lee's amazing. Martin is also going to get A tier, I think earlier out, and even mid game, he's still pretty good. He has a heal factor. He's a pretty good healer for a tank, as although I don't use him personally myself, since my lineup is full of a lot of more advanced legendary heroes. I will say that I used him for a good while with like Tom. I would use like either Tom and Martin, or I would use Regro and Martin, or just something like that, right? And the point is, he's a pretty good healer for any tanks that you might need to use. So if you're like trying to tank, and obviously you want that heal factor, that him to be able to heal, kind of like what I said with Tom. He's pretty good at that. I think even late game, so some people still use him. Not everybody can get a hero like Peterson and be able to just use that heal and kind of take advantage of all that. So overall, I think Martin is still good. Um, I do want to note that I wouldn't invest a lot into him. I would get him to four stars and maybe level 40 if maximum, because all you want to do is unlock these four skills. You don't want to invest a ton of stars in him when you have all these other options that you could invest stars into. For anybody who doesn't know, support heroes do not actually impact besides their skills. So having a talent build in the support hero, if he's not actually the leading hero, it doesn't matter. So make sure that you're not over investing like stars in him. I also wouldn't invest actually relics into this guy. I would maybe like get one skill maxed out max if I wanted to invest relics, but I would mostly go to the police station because he is a police station hero. Try to unlock his fragments to the police station. It's the best way for him. I wouldn't like over invest in him, but I still think that he's a good hero to have and to use in my lineup, if I'm limited on options, especially. Cynthia is going to go in B. And the thing is, I always feel mixed about Cynthia. I don't think she has like some insane skill damage. I don't think she's a good leading hero. But although that being said, you're kind of limited to what rider heroes you have earlier out. And she is, I think, especially early game, the best or the fastest rider hero, being just her talent build alone. It's more so suited for, I guess, speed and stuff. So people will use this to no knock people and like hit and run. Her skills or whatever. But I will say that she also has synergy with Catherine, which makes her a bit better. And she actually has a skill which should be buffed by yeah, so if Catherine is in the squad, healing will be increased by up to 15%. But you guys get the point, right? She has some synergy with Catherine. I think Catherine might even have a skill that works with Cynthia as well. But overall, I think that Cynthia is okay. I probably wouldn't invest in her like earlier out. If like I didn't invest in Catherine, I might just wait for a better hero like Bella or any other new rider heroes to come out. Over investing in Cynthia, I would probably invest in another hero. But either way, I don't think that she's bad, and I think that she works. Now we're gonna do Regro. I think that Regro is pretty good. I like Regro. Regro is freaking solid. I don't think that he's gonna be useful soon. I think that he's gonna get replaced soon by maybe Robert or Eddie. I think that that's gonna end up being the truth. But I still think that Regro overall is good for early game, maybe mid game, and even some late game, because like I said, not everybody can invest in every single hero. Not everybody can get every single top commander hero. It just makes it hard. Overall, I still think that he's good. I use him on towers and stuff that might get swarmed because he's a good counter damage hero. Overall, Regro is just really solid, and I like Regro. Regro is amazing, and that is my honest opinion, guys. That Rhaegar is amazing, but I don't think that he's going to be some excellent hero who's excelling, going above and beyond at this point. But still, I think that at this early game, he's one of the best investments between Tom, Lewis, and Rhaegar. Probably best heroes that you can invest in. Now we're going to be talking about Maya. Maya's going to have to go to B. And the reason being, I think that Maya still is decent late game. I think that she's getting outshined by people like Chun, but early game, especially when you just unlock range heroes, if you have limited range options, I think the first person you're going to be choosing no matter what will be Lewis anyways. She's also a top commander hero, making her a bit harder to get, although I will say that she is also in police station, which makes her a bit easier to level up. In your rewards list, you see it here, you'll unlock her I think around 90 days. But the point is, like, she's not bad, and if you were kind of limited on range heroes for a while, and she is, easy to get from the police station, it might be worth leveling her a bit and using her with like Lewis until you get someone like Chun. Overall, I wouldn't actually recommend investing relics in her. She's more so mediocre. Like, she's good enough to be useful, but she's not some insane hero. She doesn't have some insane skills or anything. But overall, I do think that she's still a solid choice, and I kind of like her, honestly. I think some people might think that she's mid, and that's very like reasonable. I think that she is kind of mid, but maybe earlier out she's a better choice. I wouldn't invest relics in her. I would probably invest relics in someone like Lewis whenever these two came out. He's obviously the better range hero, and she would just be a bystander. That's basically it. He was the epic heroes. We're gonna start with Akemi. Okay, Akemi, honestly, pretty solid. I would have to put her A tier, and the thing is, I would actually love to put her in S tier if she. The thing is, there's some heroes that just have more value and kind of give value in different ways, and I'll kind of go through that, and I'll show you the S tier heroes. I think there's maybe 3, and for different reasons, but Akemi's pretty solid. She has an AoE type skill, and overall, when you really consider that you're kind of limited to the range heroes that you have early game, that is a much better hero that to kind of invest in, because obviously you don't have like Lewis, you don't have Maya, you don't have them for a while, so someone like Akemi can be really solid. And I still used her for quite a while, and I still used her in my ults, but I still used her for quite a while as a secondary range hero to like someone like Lewis or something like that, just because overall she's not bad, and as a field hero, definitely probably best range hero you're gonna get. CO, sorry CO, you just don't get that title. And I'll talk about actually the S2 heroes first. So I will have to say that Alex is a S tier hero, and some people are gonna be raising their eyebrows, but if you've already seen some of my videos, some of you might already know why I say this. Alex, although he is a gather hero, he's an amazing buffer hero, and I have recommended in the past that maybe using him with a tank in arena and stuff, because then that means that he lasts as long as possible, and then he also drops these buffs. And being that this is their first skill, this is like really easy to max out. It summons a small combat drone, increase the infantry squad defense by, and I think before awakening it's 36, yeah. So defense increased by 36%, range attack increased by 36%, and HP for riders is increased by 36% for you and nearby allies, for up to 5 squads in total for 2 seconds, right? And by allies, I'm pretty sure that it implies that like even alliance members are buffed, which is amazing. But after awakening, of course, it goes up to 40% as well. But overall, this is an amazing buff, and being able to constantly cast this buff with just an epic hero is pretty amazing. So Alex overall is a really solid hero. I like to keep him S tier just for that. He'll be helpful on the field as well as just helping with maybe even people's bases. That is amazing. Next would have to be maybe Charlie going into S tier, and the only reason being that Charlie overall, not only is he just a solid hero with like AoE and stuff, I think he's also the best infantry epic hero, but he also has a rage recovery thing, which makes him, like I said, kind of similar to Alex, where he's a good buffer hero of sorts, and I used him pretty regularly in the past, and I still use him for some accounts. But basically, for maybe like someone like Lee, if I had to run Lee in here, I could run Lee and Charlie, right? Because Charlie would boost his rage, and then if I wanted to run infantry with Lee, this works pretty well. And having a rage booster means that he's able to drop these skills more, and if he's a hero who either drops like a lot of good skill damage, that's important. Obviously, I don't think I paired him with someone like Lewis, but since Lee's a leader type hero, this works better. It's also the same with someone like Raygro. I can run him with Raygro if I think that he needs to keep dropping his shields more or something. That is fine. Also, the fact that he's able to just put out, like I said, AoE damage, always amazing, hitting up to 5 enemies, and for every target hit, he recovers that 50 rage. So overall, I think that Charlie is just a solid hero. I like Charlie, and as a epic hero, he's gonna have to get S tier simply for that. And I think that he honestly is like kind of borderline legendary hero of sorts, if you had to ask me. And last off, I will say Peggy. And the thing is, Peggy, she's not some insane hero like PvP wise. I think she's probably the best or one of the best zombie heroes that you'll get to farm zombies and stuff. But the reason I put her actually S tier is because once you awaken her, it increases shelter construction speed by up to 10%, and the effect with it, is without entering battle, obviously. So this is just a passive buff that puts on your account. And 10% building speed, especially for early game players who are in their development stages, this will be insane. So I think that overall she can hold an S tier spot simply for being a pretty good builder type here, and yeah, now we're gonna put Freya in A tier. We're gonna be going down the line. I think that Freya is I put her here also, kind of similar to why Kami's here. I don't, the thing is, I think that she's a good rider hero, and if you don't really have choices for riders, this is still good. She has an AoE type skill. Between her and Park, I would obviously run her over Park. She's probably more so useful in the field than Park is. So she overall gets A tier. And, when you really consider that you have limited choices in your epic heroes and stuff, you kind of need these guys. But overall, I think that she's not some extremely insane hero, but she still works. She puts up the numbers that she needs to, and overall she's just solid. She's gonna keep that. We're gonna go to Park now. Park, he's, like I said, I think that Park honestly is pretty good as a rider hero. The only thing that makes him fall behind Freya to me is maybe the fact that he doesn't have the AoE like her. Makes him less viable in the field, like as much as her. But overall, he's a really tanky fighter, and I think that he's honestly a pretty good rider hero, besides the fact that he's not able to match up to Park in that regard. But he works. I don't really have much to say about these heroes. I just want to say that he's decent. He's not like some insane, obviously, game changer, but he works. Liam, also gonna get the B tier. I think that dude, there's nothing crazy about him. He literally is just there. He's probably the next best infantry hero you're gonna have. I personally don't care for Edward. I know that he's been used on Garrison sometimes if people need like a filler Garrison hero. I think it's because maybe he has a debuff skill here. He doesn't have any skill damage, by the way, and this makes him just less appealing. I don't really see him being the most useful in like on the field or anything, but I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't see his underlying potential. He also has some lightly mooted healing stuff. Overall, I don't care for Edward. I think that he's okay. I've seen him being used, and I've seen that he is useful by some people, but I don't really care. And we're gonna put freaking Russell, right? Russell is literally just a zombie farming hero. I don't think that he's really worth the time of day. I wouldn't really. The thing is, you can literally max him out from doing the Russell event and getting his like fragments there, and unlock. Once you do the Russell event, you're able to get these zombie warrior helmet things, and then you can basically summon these zombie warriors. Boom! I summon this, and then I can rally it. And when I rally this, I get rewards, I get Russell fragments, etc. And then I can basically awaken him. I also don't even have to do the rallying myself. If people do the rallying and I get it from my alliance chest, I will basically be able to unlock him and max him out that way. So he's an easy hero to awaken, honestly. And he also is just a pretty good zombie farmer. So I think there's no reason not to place him there. This hero, just gonna have to get the D tier. Literally just a gathering hero. I don't think the rest of these heroes are really that important. Maybe Sia more so. She doesn't really have anything insane about her. She's literally just a good gathering hero. Same with Jeremy, gathering hero. CEO, hard for me to say. I might place her honestly C tier simply for being there. I think that she's not bad, when you consider like epic tier range. But overall, I don't think she's better than Kami, and she just doesn't offer anything insane, right? So she's gonna have to sit C for me. And I guess there's last for me is gonna be frickin' John. I don't really care for John. I think he's whatever. I wouldn't really pay him any mind. I wouldn't really invest anything in him. I don't care for John. He just doesn't offer me anything appealing. But that is the tier list, guys. I do hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I gave a decent explanation on why I do enjoy and don't enjoy some of these heroes. But yeah, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope I didn't freaking disappoint. But you guys have a good day or night, though, and I'll see you guys in the next one.